Welcome, everybody. You are with me, Emmanuel, and we'll be talking about the application of Python for data analysis. And in this one, we'll be talking much about how to apply Python for a data analysis, because we understand that a lot of people, they just understand Python as a programming language. Mostly people, they find Python being used mostly by the developers or software developers, not necessarily understanding how Python can also be used by for analyzing the data. So in this webinar, we'll be demonstrating as well as showing you how you can use Python for analyzing the data. So an introduction to data analysis, we'll need to have a look at what is data analysis. So by definition, you need to understand that, by the way, this is more of trying to understand the Okay, so we're trying to understand the introduction to data analysis, and we'll talk about the definition of data analysis, explaining what data analysis is and its importance in various industries. And also we'll talk about the types of data analysis, where we're looking at the descriptive and also diagnostic, predictive, and also the predictive analysis. And then after, also look at the application, that is business intelligence, marketing research, healthcare, as well as the finance, etc. Here, about the definition of data analysis. So data analysis is more like, in a nutshell, it's a process of trying to analyze the data. And to analyze the data, what do I mean? It's more like you have the data which does not make sense. So you're trying to make it in a format or in a form that can make more sense, so that you can make the informed decisions. So we have companies, businesses who might have data which is not categorized, or which has not been organized in a way that it can help the decision makers or managers to make decisions. So data analysis comes in to make sure that they help someone to make a decision based on the given data. So, and as I say, that we also have the different types of data analysis. We have the descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, as well as the prescriptive analysis. So why do we need to use Python? Why Python for data analysis? So Python is used for data analysis for various reasons. Among them, we're talking about the easy to use, easy to learn, as well as easy to use. So we have different types of programming languages. We have Java, we have PHP, C#, C++, and many others. And the question is, why do we need to use Python for data analysis? So as I'm saying here, is that Python is easy, as well as it's easy to use, as well as easy to learn. Most people find Python to be straightforward, unlike other programming languages. And also, so which makes it more easy and good for data analysts, or somebody who is coming from data analysis background, because data analyst is not somebody who is a developer. So it means this particular individual or person is more good into analyzing data, not understanding the business logic of the language. So that's why Python is one of the commonly used programming languages for data analysis. And also it has the extensive libraries and also frameworks. When talking about a library and frameworks, these are different things. I just need to highlight the difference here. When looking at library, a library, it can be a set of predefined functions or objects, meaning to say, in simple English, it can be a predefined solution. So when you need it, you just call it. You reuse the same solution over and over again. It's already there. You just need to reuse and call the particular components you need for your solution. Now, about frameworks, these are more like, it's a solution, but not as a solution as in a library form. But this kind of a solution is more like you're given a house. So instead of you coming up with a house, you're only interested in putting the necessary materials inside your house. Where you need to put a chair, you put a chair. Where you need to put a bed, you put a bed. That's a framework, meaning to say it gives you a layout of whatever you want to come up with. So it gives you a layout. That's a framework. Gives you a layout or a starting point, whereby a library can be applied in a framework because it's a predefined solution. So that's why we also use Python for data analysis. On the other hand, it also has a big community support, strong community support. What do we mean? When talking about the community support, we're looking at every programming language has got a programming language. There comes a time where it goes outdated, or there are certain things which need to be updated. So the community is always there to make sure that every weak points of the language or technology is always updated, so that it matches the competition which is happening in the industry. So the community is a group or where you can easily find the solutions for yourself. When you go online, you're stuck on one area or the other. That community supports the language, supports Python to be there to survive. Okay, and also integration with other tools as well as technologies. Sometimes when you're a programming language, when you have a programming language, other languages are not easy to integrate with other languages. A good example is Java. When looking at Java, if I compare Java and Python, you discover that Java is a bit complicated when it comes to integration with other technologies, because there are a lot of things which need to be put in place for you to, to connect with other technologies. A good example is when you want to connect Java with database, you need to download the MySQL connector drivers, and also there are a lot of things which you need to configure. Probably if you're using IDEs like NetBeans IDEs, you need to have all those libraries set in place, check the port numbers, and the connection to just database or other technologies in Java is a bit more tricky, unlike in Python. So Python is more straightforward when you're trying to connect with, or to link, or to integrate with other technologies. Okay. So now, when we are trying to store, when we want to analyze data using Python, it means you are interested to see where the data is. And also you're interested to see how to set up the environment, or which environment are you going to analyze data in. So you need, first of all, to have the integrated development environment. That is just an IDE. An IDE, we're talking about the environment which you need to have in place. We have Jupyter Notebook, or you can also have what we call VS Code, etc. There are many different types of the integrated development environments. So first thing first, you need to first of all make sure that you download, or you make sure that the Python is installed in your machine. That's the very first thing. You need to make sure that Python is installed, and you need to check that it's perfectly installed, or it's installed perfectly fine. Okay, so what do we need to do for us to make sure to do that? You need to go to browser. You can use any browser which you need. I'm using this browser, Chrome, and I'll go to website, just type Python. Okay, so in Python, just go to downloads, and then you'll be able to download here. And then I'll put it in the downloads folder. Okay. Okay, once it's done, you make sure that you go to the location where we stored, or probably you can just go directory here, just double click on it. It will start installing. I would like you to follow me slowly as I'll be taking you through how you can install this. Here, there are things which you need to pay attention, like you need to tick this, that's add the Python path. Just tick this, okay? And once you're done with that, just go to install. This will install all these in your project, in your computer. So check it out. This is the version of Python we're installing, 3.12, as you can see, 3.1. So it's installing now. Okay, so we have Python installed, successfully fine. The next thing you have to do is to check the Python is installed. We simply go to the version, CMD. I've just typed on here. One will be asking, where did I type? I just come here and just type CMD. Just type CMD. And when you're here, just say, just type Python. Python, just version like this. Okay. Or just type Python -v. Or other, they just type Python. You see, it will actually come straight away like this. Okay. So once you have Python installed in your machine, it means this is the first part you have to start. What the starting point is now you have the Python installed and the environment is done. If you didn't set the environment, it means you need to have the environment set up. How do you do that? Sometimes if you don't find Python, you just go to CMD again. And what you need to do, just say where Python. Okay, this will give you the location where the Python is installed. This is the path, and you can link this path, just copy it, and then you go to your environment variables. So you just type here, just say environment. Okay, once you're here, just go to environment variables, as you can see here, and you go to path, and then go to edit, and then you check it out here. As you can see here, I have the path. As you can see here, this is the path where the Python is installed. If you don't have these, you just go to new and you paste them here. Then you click OK. Okay. Then you check again the version and you have it installed, as you can see here. Perfect. The next thing you want to do is just to go to checking the VS Code installed. Just type VS Code. So VS Code like this, as you can see. Just go to download. However, I already have it for Windows or for Mac. It's coming down here. Just go to for Windows, download it. However, I already have it. If I already have it, just go to searching VS Code. If I have it, it will come like this on your Windows. And then once it is open, you'll be able to check like this, as you can see here. And in VS Code, you are able to see all these tools. It's a popular tool and isn't straightforward tool for data analysis, and also it's popularly used by developers. So once you are here, the next thing you have to do is go to terminal, because it has the terminal as well. When you're here, you need to first of all also check the Python is installed here, or if you can access Python command or CRI, just type Python. Yes, you still have it here. So here it means you can type anything to print, whether to print hello world, just to check that Python CRI is working. Okay, hello world, like that. You see it prints hello world. Okay, that means Python is actually working in our machine. As you can see, it's working. If you don't see this happening, it means your Python is not functioning accordingly in your machine. So you need to revisit it and check out what you're lacking. Okay. So that is done. Now, the next thing you have to do is you need to install the popular libraries, which I've just mentioned. I've mentioned a number of libraries. We've talked about the pandas. We've talked about NumPy, matplotlib, and also scikit-learn. These are the libraries which you need to install for your data analysis. So what do you do then? If you have the command line, you can just come down here, just say, because pipe is a package manager for Python, it's coming along with Python. When you're installing Python, it comes along with Python. So you don't need to worry about where to find it. Just say pipe, PIP. By the way, you need to check if it's actually working, because if it's not working, you need to reinstall your Python. So let's see pipe. If it works, yes, you see, as you can see, just type pipe, and you'll be able to see that it works here. Okay. So clear this out. The next thing you have to use this package manager or package installer by just saying, so we start with first library, which is pandas. then NumPy. Okay. So what do we do? Just say pipe pandas pipe install pandas. So it will start installing. As you can see, it's actually installing pandas. As I said, this package manager is actually coming along with Python. When you're installing Python, it's coming along with Python. Okay. So let's keep waiting. By the way, you need to make sure that your internet is stable and also you're connected to the internet, because this package installer is actually downloading these packages to your local environment. When I'm saying about local environment, I'm talking about your computer locally, which means not from the internet. Okay. So now we also need to know how to install another library. This is pandas, and also need another environment, which is NumPy. So as you can see here, we have NumPy and then matplotlib. So we have another library which we need. So just clean this and then say pipe install NumPy, just like that. You see that they're saying that NumPy is already installed here. It's already in the program files. Okay. The other library which we need here is just matplotlib. So matplotlib, install matplotlib, like that. Yes, you're making sure that the spellings are correct, because if they are not, then it will not install. Okay. Perfect. This is done as well. Let's check another one. This is now Seaborn. Install Seaborn. Seaborn. Install Seaborn. That's it. As you can see, it's quite a simple process, but you need to be patient as well to understand how it works. Okay. Install. Now we need to install this scikit-learn. You make sure the spellings are correct. Scikit-learn, like that. I think I'm correct. Yes, I think so. I think the spellings are correct. Okay. So now that we have those libraries installed, we would like to appreciate how do we analyze the data. So it means we'll need to prepare the sample data, which we can appreciate how Python can do the analysis itself. Okay. Okay, so you see these are the sizes of these different types of libraries. So it means if your internet is weak, it will not work. Okay, so we are done. All the libraries installed. Perfectly fine. So the next thing, as I said, it means we will need to prepare the data. So I'll need to get the data now. And the data will be in form of a CSV file. So let me just open the data. And this is the data which we will work with. Okay. This is the data which we will work with. And as you can see, the data, the way it is structured, this is how it is structured in an Excel file. This is CSV file. CSV file, yeah. So this is the data which we want to analyze, okay, based on needs. And this webinar, we're only showing how can we get started to analyzing the data. Okay, you don't start with complex data, you just start with little data so that you appreciate the analysis process of your data analysis. Okay, so now here, okay, so we need to copy this data. It's actually the CSV file. So we have it here. As you can see, this is the file in our VS Code. By the way, there are many tools being used for data analysis. It's not only VS Code. I'm using VS Code for demonstration purpose for you to appreciate how Python can actually work for data analysis. Okay. So the next thing we want to do is just to create a Python file so that we can analyze the data which we have just been given. Okay. So as we have seen here, this is the process which we have done. We are able to run the commands to installing these libraries. This is done. Setting up the environment is done. We have actually used the VS Code. as I said, that exchange with others, they use the Jupyter Notebook, where we use the VS Code. Okay. So now I want to talk about this libraries before we go to creating the Python file and before we go to the actual data analysis. So essential Python libraries for data analysis. These are the essential libraries. Pandas is actually used for data manipulation, because I know you were actually wondering, like, why are we installing Pandas? Why is it needed? Okay. Another thing I would like you to know is that in data analysis and in Python in particular, the libraries, they work hand in hand. Actually, sometimes based on the complexity of your analysis, you would need more libraries installed at once so that you can actually import all of them and also be able to achieve the desired outcome which you need. Okay. So here you have Pandas, which is being used for data manipulation as well as analysis. Example, how Pandas works, it helps us to read a CSV file and some basic operations. So if you would like to fetch data from the file which we have, and would like to incorporate it in our project, probably in the project which we have, like a Python file, we'll use the Pandas. So Pandas will help us to read the file or read the data from the external file. Okay. And NumPy is just for numerical computations. So there'll be some summations, averaging, or anything to do with computations. So it means that's why we need this if we would like to make some computations. You see, so each individual library has got its own purpose. A good example is for creating the arrays and performing the mathematical operations. So we usually use the NumPy library. So with the Pandas library enabling us to export data from the external environment, we're using the NumPy to now manipulate and make some mathematical calculations. Okay, so we have the matplotlib and also Seaborn. So matplotlib and Seaborn, these two, they're used for data visualization. This is more like you have done the computations. You'd like to appreciate the visual aspect of the data, like in a graphical form or in pie chart or whatever you want to have a look at. These two libraries will help you, matplotlib and Seaborn. Okay, and also we have the scikit-learn. So scikit-learn is actually for machine learning. Example, simple linear regression, it can be done by scikit-learn library. Okay, so now we'll look at the first demonstration. So the first demonstration, it will basically be for loading the data and also exploiting the data exploration with the Pandas. As I said, that Pandas will help us to fetch data or to read the data from the external environment and also appreciate how it works. So this is it. And now I'll need to create a Python file. I'll just say sample.py. Okay, so this means the Python file. Python files, they end with the file extension py. Okay, so that's the first sample. And the first thing you want to do is to import Pandas. So import Pandas as PD. Okay, and then you need to read df d dot. So it will help us to read the CSV. Okay, so read the CSV file. Okay, so the CSV file we're talking about here is actually this data.csv. So data.csv. Okay, that's the file we should like to appreciate how it will be read. You make sure here there's equal sign, put an equal sign here. Okay, perfect. So okay. So you import Pandas as ed, and if you find issues, you need to make sure that you check your library. Okay, so if your library is not okay, so you see here in Python, if you forget the semicolon, it can actually forgive you. Okay, that's Python. It does forgive. Okay, but in other languages, that's a serious offense. Okay, so df, just put df probably, df like that, and then you say print, want to print out. So here we would like to see if it can read this and print out the results here. So how do we do that? So just say print. So after printing, it will just print the head. So print df, the one which we just have here, and df, and then head. Okay. So this will print the description. Now let's try to run it. If you try to run it, we're waiting for results. If it gives us results here, it means the run was successful. Okay. Okay. Yes, it was taking time, so it has run multiple times. As you can see here, let me cross it one by one. Let me cross one by one. Okay, so I've crossed it, and I'll repeat the process so that some could understand this better. Okay, so here, what's happening here is we are reading this data from this file, the CSV file. So we're trying to run it out, and then this is the data which it is actually giving us the summary details about the data which we have with the comments, with the columns, as you can see, in a well-presented format, as you can see here. So this actually just reads and also shows us what's it all about. And then let's just try to describe the data, print, and then describe. Okay, so describe. These are functions. Okay, these are functions which are coming along with the library. As you can see here, it gives us more details about the data which we have just imported. So Pandas library has enabled us to fetch data from external file, be able to read and also to describe the data, as you can see here. This is a process of data analysis. Yes. So now let me just explain what's happening here. So importing pandas, the way we have done here, importing the pandas, what does that mean? It means that we are importing the library and we're giving it an alias. This is an alias. An alias, we can just say a representation of how we're going to use this library, because you can see down here, we are using it by BD. So we're using the library here to read the data in this particular file. Yeah. And also, why is it important? So this pandas, it is important because it's a powerful library for data manipulation as well as analysis, and it makes it a bit easier and faster to call pandas function. So when we're using an alias, it helps us to make sure that we call the pandas library. Okay. So that is it about the first pandas. So the library pandas, we are able to appreciate how it works and how we can export data from external environment, from external file, to appreciating the results. So this is a combination of the file, and then we're also seeing it in the Python. Okay. All right. So now we will also have a look at. Okay. So this is it. This is what we have just run. Example number 2, we'll be looking at, so the first example, it was more loading and exploring data with pandas. We've seen how we can explore and we can import, load the data. And the next example, we'll be looking at, so you see here, it will explaining, these are the comments, loading the data. The first part, it loads the data. This print.tf, the head, it displays the first rows of the data, and this is another comment which talks about TF describe, it just basic statistics. Okay. The demonstration number 2, it will be about the cleaning and the manipulation of the data. So here is what we're going to do. We'll be handling the missing values, and also we'll be able to filter the data, and then grouping, and then the aggregation process. So how do we go about that? We go back to this, and we'll create another file. And this file, it will be called sample number 2, probably. Let's say sample 2, sample2.py. So it means it's a Python file. So this is another file. So in this case, we will also import the pandas. The first thing you'll also do is, let me increase the space here. So also first of all, we'll be able to import the pandas as PD, and thereafter we'll also be able to import the matplotlib for visualization. Okay, and also we'll also be able to import the Seaborn. So we have 3 libraries here imported, as you can see. And thereafter, I will first of all be able to load the data. So in this case, we'll be loading the different data. This is the first data which we analyzed. Now we'll be checking the second data set, which will be now loading. So let's copy this data and put them in here. The location matters as well. Make sure that they're also located in the same directory, as you can see here. So this is the data which you will check. If you check, this is the data which you're looking at. Okay. So this will load, and we've seen how we load data with the pandas. Okay. So now the next thing we have to we'll need to make sure that in the data given, we'll need to convert the date column to date time. That's data manipulation. Now, how do we do that? This is done in Python like this, as you can see. So we are saying that we're going to manipulate data.cf. So if you look at this, you can see that this is date, value, and category. The way it is organized is somehow not clear enough for one to make decisions from it. Okay, so what we're doing here is trying to make sure that we convert the date column to date time so that it has data as well as the time. Okay, so first we'll need, after we do that, we'll need to plot the graph using the matplotlib. So we'll be plotting this graph. We'll plot. Okay. After that, we'll also need to. So these are all the plotting procedures. How we're gonna plot it out. Okay. So we are actually firstly we're plotting with the matplotlib. Okay, as you can see, these comments, they're talking about adding the x-axis label for the accredited sec. So this label for the x-axis, it will be the date, and adding the y-axis label for accredited, and this will be for value. This is for y-axis, and the title, it will be date versus the value, and this function will just display this. And if we try to run this, okay, so we must be able to see the plotted graph or a plot which has been done by matplotlib. And as you can see that we are using plot, you see, PLT from matplotlib library. Okay, so yes, as you can see, this is a graph. And what you see here are the ones which are here. This is the title, date versus value, as you can see here. And also, if you can also see here, y-axis, this is where you have the value. I mean, the y-axis, this is the y-axis. Okay, this is the x-axis. Okay, y-axis, the increased values as you go to the east. X-axis, the increased values as you go to the north. Okay, and also you can also see the date is here, which is the x-axis. Okay, so this is a plot using the matplotlib library. Okay, so as you can see again, this is something which you can make decisions. You'll be able to tell that on this particular date, a certain value was able to increase or decrease and make the informed decisions. That's the role of data analysis. And this is what data analysis is all about. Make sure that you analyze the data and you understand the figures from the given data sets. Okay, so we continue, and we can also appreciate how we can analyze the same data or picture the same data using the Seaborn. So using the Seaborn is also another library, and Let's see how we can do that using Seaborn. I'm just commenting this out, or I can remove for the sake of confusion for others. I'm just putting this, I pressed this is for Seaborn. As you can see, the only difference here is that we're using Seaborn as it has been imported from here above. And then you also mark them, and also you mark the X and Y axis and the values, as well as the title category versus value. So it will only differ in the way it will look. So plotting the same graph using different libraries, Seaborn is showing us more like a bar graph. The other one was showing us another type of the graph, but they're all depicting the figures to make the informed decisions from the strategic level management, to make decisions based on the data given. As you can see, it looks very, very beautiful and smart. This is more done by Python with the help of libraries. Okay, so that's it. And you can see here, that's what I've explained. So I've explained about this, how this works. We have actually visualized the same. We have imported the data, and also we have data visualization with matplotlib and Seaborn. This we have done. And this is line plot. This is bar plot. It's exactly what we have actually seen. Okay. Now, simple machine learning with scikit-learn. So this is more of explanation, to be more of explanation how you can actually do the machine learning with using the scikit-learn. So here from scikit-learn model, you need to import the way we have just done. You are able to import from scikit-learn and then import the linear regression, and also you prepare the data. Okay, prepare the data where you say X, you put the features as you can put here, say feature 1, feature 2, and the Y, you also put the DF, and then you put the target. And you split the data sets in the X train, X test, Y train, Y test, and then you have something equal to train underscore test underscore split X, Y, test size equal to 0.2, and random underscore state equal to 2. Train model, it's a model now. So scikit-learn is more used for machine learning, and others they call it a framework, because it gives you a platform where you can actually design your own model, where you can train the data. That's why you have the train model here, and also make some predictions, as you can see the prediction, and then predict the test. Whatever you want to train the model which you have created, this library will be able to help you with that. So it's an intro part to some of you who would like to focus on machine learning, and also just a grip of having understanding about how to analyze data using all these mentioned libraries. Okay. Otherwise, this is the end of my webinar. I didn't want to exhaust much of your time. I didn't want to take much of your time. If you could follow us on Facebook or social medias, it's ITonlinelearning. On YouTube, you can simply just subscribe. Just hit the subscribe button, and we will greatly appreciate on that. And also, you can also be dropping how the webinar was on the comment section, just to write for us, like, how it was. How do you want us to improve as well? Tell us how do you want us to improve on this, and also suggest some topics which you're interested ITonlinelearning to give to you, so that we make your life a bit more easier and educative enough. Thank you so much for being part of this. Enjoy your time.